OPEC Plus agreement on production still not met, as gas prices are currently rising a little bit. So, what does this mean? Well, OPEC is a collection of all of the major players in the gas and oil industry, and plus just means some countries that are outside of it. I think it's the Oil Producer Economic Council or something like that. I forget what OPEC stands for. We should look that up. So but the point here is that Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Okay, yeah, that's right. Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. So what happens is they usually meet and they set up deals because being the largest players in the market, right, they have the ability to produce so many barrels of oil that they could literally push the price down to levels that would be unsustainable by other companies and other countries to keep producing. If they flooded the market with supply and the cost of a barrel of oil went down to like $12-15, I think the break even right now for many companies is like $30 at its lowest. So therefore, how long would they be able to keep producing if the cost was so low, and vice versa? They control so much supply that they actually can help bolster supply shortage if needed. So right now what's happening is they're trying to wean themselves off and reverse from, in 2020, they did massive supply cuts to support the price of oil right, because this pandemic created a demand shock because all of a sudden people didn't need as much of it because they weren't driving, they weren't going outside. Things came to a slowdown. So they kind of had, to slow down production because they were just flooding the market. Now they have they're seeing more demand. And then they have to figure out how to get how to keep their production levels in a balanced way. The proposal that was on the table was for about $2 million worth in terms of worth of barrels a day, and that would come up to about 400,000 barrel installments, 200 million barrels with 400,000 barrel installments up to the next couple of months out to the end of the year. But the United Arab Emirates rejected these plans, and they said that the UAE they felt like it wasn't a fair deal for them when they discussed how the production would continue on in 2022. So they're still willing to support a short-term increase in the oil supply, but they want better terms in 2022. So right now we're just looking at the biggest players having a conversation. They're not reaching a deal. It was expected they would have a deal. So the fact that it's not could see some volatility in the markets. They're looking at current spot prices are about $76 per barrel. Some people have said it can get up to 100. I don't know if it will. Some good points out there that are saying, just because things are getting back to normal doesn't mean they're normal yet. So we're seeing an increase of demand, but it's not going to be too crazy. And the thing you have to remember is gas stations, gas prices, they will raise their price whenever there's uncertainty. Period. They will raise their price to make as much profit now because money now is worth more money later, and then they'll have that in advance. So if all of a sudden they don't have enough supply, they have profit to carry them, and if they have too much supply, then they have excess profit. So that's what could be happening at the pump. And in terms of the oil markets, the futures are up a little bit, but we're going to be watching this because their agreements and what they set for production is very important, and not only affects other companies around the world, but it could affect markets that depend on oil and depend on usage of oil and how much there is in the market. They can change up their operational strategies. So OPEC did not reach an agreement yet. They were expected to. So oil markets still have a lot of uncertainty in them going forward. That's the basic news.
I mean, I'm over here in Ohio, and it's crazy that gas is reaching $3 when just like late last year it was at $1, like
but you have to
3x. That
well,
is
last
just,
year nobody wanted to drive
it's
it.
true.
So what was it like before the pandemic? That's what you should compare it to, because that would be a better.
That's true. Well,
however much it was back then.
I think it was like $2. I've never seen it come close to $3. I thought this was coming closer to like California prices than Ohio prices. But how about, did you see that lake of fire in the Gulf of Mexico?
I didn't know. Did something leak?
Oh my goodness, did something leak? The whole, I mean, it looked like, what's one of those movies? Pacific Rim was releasing like a level 5 monster out in like the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah. It was
I did not know about this.
And here I'm staring at it, I'm like, that does not look like how that's not how fire and oil are supposed to work, or at least that is just
because it sits on top, so you can light water on fire by burning the actual oil that sits on the top of it, because they separate, right? Oil's lighter than water, I believe.
Yeah, but this looks like it's just lava. Like,
right, because
is
from what I can
nuts.
tell, it says, oh, here's Jeremy. It says that the pipeline caused bubbling, so it literally, like, I think it just shot straight up and then lit on fire at the surface. So it was like, let me invite him. And he was like, that's just a flow of flaming gasoline.
So
that's crazy.
I mean, I'm looking at the footage. It doesn't even look real. Like, it looks CGI. Like, I'm here calling, like, come on, guys. Like,
the conspiracy.
I've seen Marvel do worse. I'm like, come on, like.
Yeah, Marvel's budget for the new movie really sucks. I mean, look what they're doing in the Gulf.
Oh,
it's not even real.
Oh, this is
real.
This is what the Infinity Stones look like, and so.
Hello, Jeremy.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome, Random Rabbit Jeremy.
Happy 4th of July, Jeremy. Thank you for joining us.
So
Finally
yeah.
made it.